Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another National Anthem reaction video where today, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you an idea about where we've been to today, we have gone from Chad to Georgia, all the way to Papua New Guinea, and now we cover a nation that is not too far away from home. That is the nation of Belgium, comprised of 3 different languages from French, German, and Dutch, and also comprising of some of actually one of the most picturesque landscapes you could possibly hope to find. Because again, it literally almost takes like they took some of the best aspects from Munich, Berlin, from Amsterdam and from Paris, and they've all scaled them beautifully and across an entire nation, because you've got some very classical Neo-Georgian faces of what looks like either churches or disused palaces or king. I mean, look at that. It's like they try to make their own version of the Houses of Parliament, and even their own, like a cobbled version of Tower Bridge. And it looks beautiful. You know what I think is also really nice about this whole ensemble? It's complete. It's like complete. It's almost like the very tip of the mountain. It's because there's like nothing surrounding it either. It's just the sky and these beautiful churches, monasteries, a beautiful tower over here. There's to be honest, again, a lot of people do like to give a bit of a look down on Belgium because they say not very much happens in it. But how would you know unless you've never actually been to Belgium yourself? I mean, just even shots like these, and just look at the brickwork, look at just the shape of its buildings, the shape of its rooftops. Its flag is not the most interesting flags in the world, I will concede, of just black, yellow and red, but it is its own, and I reckon it should be so. And then, of course, you get into perhaps just imagine what it'd be like waking up to this, sitting at your window and just looking over this tiny river over here, and then again just more, and again just to I know I'm sort of like skimming over these just a little bit, but what I'm trying to do is to convey the impression that actually Belgium is actually a really, really nice place to visit. And curiously enough, because of its size and over the fact that it's comprised into about roughly 10 or 11 mini states, with Brussels sitting at the centre of the Flemish Brabant region. But also it's worth mentioning in some detail as well is that my sister, round about 11 years ago, actually visited Flanders Fields with her friends. And again, it was one of the most profound sightings and one of the most catastrophic battles during was it during like the First World War specifically? Because I'm not entirely sure if I can remember 100% where, like, if the Somme was in Belgium or in Germany. But remember, it's again, hundreds of thousands of people died for 5 miles of mud, basically, is the way the phrase goes. Which again, it's sort of more for the benefit of everybody. Why? Thank goodness, like, because if another war broke out, Belgium, in terms of positioning, is sandwiched entirely between the French and the Germans, with the tiny nation of Luxembourg just sit comfortably. Well, I say comfortably because for some strange reason, Luxembourg is sort of, I don't necessarily know 100% if it's like recognized, like, obviously this is the nation of Luxembourg here, but then they've also got Luxembourg over here. And I think in terms of square miles, Luxembourg is the only other nation in Europe that is only second smallest compared to the Vatican City, which again, the reason why is probably right there in the name. And you got, again, look at this beautiful little market town over here, and again, even having some pink buildings facing the square. It's a, I think it also depends on like where you go. If you go towards like Brussels or Antwerp, you're likely to find a very modern, beautiful city that's rich with sort of like, almost sort of like they've taken some of like the best aspects of its neighboring nations and sort of like culminated them into one, basically an extension of all three nations. And that's nothing when you compare to a lot of its cuisines. And it's, I'm now literally hungry for mussels right now, hungry for waffles, for fry. Oh my! Just again, look at. Again, you probably imagine that it would be probably quite easy to like fish for mussels in Belgium, because, as we discussed, it's probably along the coast, along many. It does have its own coastline, and it has many rivers that run through, just like pulsating arteries through this historic nation. And well, specifically, you also got things like you got Ligier waffles, Brussels waffles, and galettes. So again, just the scale and the variety. And is that meant to be like a tart or a steak? Because it does have like this, the texture of it looks more like a tart, but it probably is a steak. Just again and again, it's probably no coincidence, ladies and gentlemen, that checking out foods from different nations, and including macaroons as well, with what looks like a crusty fly on it, but it's one of those things you simply have got to try. And it's, if there were some great vendors out there that did stuff like this that I could literally do on camera, then absolutely I would check this out, because it's just taking a bite of the rest of the world. And okay, I'm gonna like stop looking at food right now, because it would be so easy just to get lost in all this and to just become completely overwhelmed in just what Belgium has offered for like dozens of years. Because again, I've no necessarily reference for like how old Belgium is, but I think we can certainly get a better idea by just going through this part right here. Belgium, a country in Western Europe, is known for medieval towns, Renaissance architecture, and is a headquarters of the European Union and NATO. The country has distinctive regions including Dutch-speaking Flanders to the north, French-speaking Wallonia to the south, and a German-speaking community to the east. The bilingual capital, Brussels, has ornate guild halls and grand palace and elegant Art Nouveau buildings. And it has a population of something close to, what was it about, like, just under, it's like 8 million people, or something, like, with like a quarter of it living sort of basically close to Brussels. And as you can see right here, ladies and gentlemen, it does again have its own representative democracy, because it has its own king by the name of Philippe, which again you could argue is, well, I'm not entirely sure. Again, a Belgium royal family is the sort of thing that, again, it doesn't really occur to me about whether or not this is one of those things that I should be surprised about, or what a representative monarchy has got to represent outside of what to the rest of the world looks like a very modern European nation. But again, that's not really for me to decide, and it's not really for me to criticize either. So I think it's now time, ladies and gentlemen, because remember, Le Brabançonne is actually translated into French, German, and Dutch, as well as English. So I think we will probably have to like do this video into like separate languages, because again, there definitely is again, just like when we talked about with Chad, there's a lot of languages that are spewing, but then again, I just did a video about Papua New Guinea, which has over 800 languages to its name. So make of that what you will. So if you guys want to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. So please rise, ladies and gentlemen, for the national anthem of Belgium. The Song of Brabant.
Noble Belgique, ô mère chérie, à toi nos cœurs, à toi nos bras, à toi notre sang, ô patrie, nous le jurons tous, tu vivras, toujours grande et belle. Et ton invincible unité aura pour devise immortelle le roi, la loi, la liberté. Aura pour devise immortelle le roi, la loi, la liberté. Le roi, la loi, la liberté. Le roi, la loi, la liberté. O liebes Land, o Belgiens Erde, dir unser Herz, dir unsere Hand, dir unser Mut, o Heimat. Wir schwören's dir, Vaterland, so blühe froh in voller Schöne, zu der die Freiheit dich erzog. Uns fortan singen deine Söhne, Gesetz und König und die Freiheit hoch. Und fortan singen deine Söhne, Gesetz und König und die Freiheit hoch. Gesetz und König und die Freiheit hoch. Gesetz und König und die Freiheit hoch. O sierbaar België, o heilig Land der Vaderland, onze ziel en ons hart zijn u gewijd. Aanvaard ons hart en het bloed van onze aderen. Wees ons voer in arbeid en het strijden. Bloei, o land, in eendracht niet te breken. Wees in uzelf en ongekend. Het woordje trouw, dat van de brust komt spreken. Voor vorst, voor vrijheid en voor recht. Het woordje trouw, dat van de brust komt spreken. Voor vorst, voor vrijheid en voor recht. Voor vorst, voor vrijheid en voor recht. Voor vorst, voor vrijheid en voor recht.
Now it even makes more sense, ladies and gentlemen, and that had like it's almost as though if like the French Revolution never happened, I can almost see this as so like an alternative to what like the French national anthem probably would have looked at, because there definitely is a lot of calls about being loyal to the king, to the law and to the persistency, to the liberty of your own nation. But one thing I definitely certainly was not expecting was the fact that, again, it really is a combination of all three languages at once. Because, yes, you could absolutely tell there was a certain split. And I wonder if it also speaks to maybe quite a lot of people from Belgium, that maybe they are like trilingual. Maybe they absolutely can speak in three languages. I mean, there are plenty of people who can already. I mean, again, I'm glad to be a part of that list, I suppose. But it's fantastic as well how each has its own little separate lyric, and it means something different. And maybe that's like in its own way sort of like a strange little, a beautiful little note to its listeners, that every person has a very different impression about what their country means to them. And for such a diverse and multilingual country like Belgium, doesn't it make more sense that we do it specifically in that way? Because the French version, well, the French portion of the anthem speaks a lot about the motherland, the fatherland, as though we are the children, that we look up to Belgium as a nation, as though it protects us in a family-styled embrace. And then we cut into the German quarter, where it goes into things like service and work and basically maturity. To you, our blood, O native land, we swear to you, O fatherland. So gladly bloom in full beauty into what freedom has taught you to be. So it's almost like growing up with this. It's like teaching you to be free, to be loving, to understand what the capacity of love means. And then it understands about what the capacity of love is to understand. And then it is to live. Flourish, O land, in unbreakable unity. Always be yourself and serve no other. Or blowe, O land, on entrande nicht te breken, res immoral und zelf ungenecht. So yes, absolutely, it is knowing, it is understanding, and it is practicing. This entire song is all about, if to live in Belgian society is to grow up, to love Belgian society, to understand Belgian society, and to practice in Belgian society, to be loyal, to be respectful, to maintain law and order. I sense almost like there's, it's like I've never said this about a national anthem before, but I almost sense like there's something of almost like a kindred spirit of ideologies between this, because that's actually some really good ideas. And I will concede it's one of my absolute favorites so far, because there's a lot of very strong ideas that go into this, and there's also a lot of thought and a lot of consideration, and there's a lot of attempts to try to make people understand about why they've done it in this way, what maybe they think about the nations of the people who speak their respective languages. That's a very encouraging thought, and certainly one thing that any great national anthem or any great piece of music should do is encourage perhaps a way of life that is good, pure, and true to what it's meant to be. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the most encouraging sign of them all. So anyway, I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction video to the Belgian national anthem. Please make sure to leave all your thoughts and comments in the comment section down below, because we want to know what you guys felt of Belgium's national anthem for yourselves. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.